I call the meeting to order. Motion to move into camera. I need a mover, Ian, and a seconder. No one. Resolved that the board agreed to adjourn the public portion of its meeting and in camera to discuss confidential terms pursuant to section 44(2) of the Community Safety and Policing Act. Okay, I call the meeting to order. It is 2:06. Territorial acknowledgement.
Yeah, more. No, those cookies are.
By acknowledging that we are in the Robinson-Huron Treaty territory and that the land on which we are gathered is the traditional territory of the Kennebec, specifically the Garden River and the Batchewana First Nation, as well as the Métis people. Roll call. Bruno, Mackenzie, Rooney, Shoemaker, Henry, Hutchison, Stevenson, Duguay, Freeman, Miles, and Loudon. Did I miss anybody? And welcome to the meeting. Okay. Any conflicts of interest that need to be declared? Move on. Questions and information arising out of the minutes or not otherwise on the agenda?
Yeah.
Any questions, comments? Seeing none. Adoption of minutes, mover, Ian, seconder, Matt. Resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting as presented be hereby approved. All in favor? Approved. Motion to accept the agenda, March 3rd, 2025. Mover, please. Marchie. Seconder. Ian. Resolved that the agenda of the regular meeting as presented be hereby approved. All in favor? Okay, body worn cameras. Let's move into the exciting video presentation. Take it over.
Video presentation.
Chief and
Thanks for setting me
and
up.
then drum roll, Mr. Freeman.
Okay, so the chief wanted me just to give all of you an update on our body worn camera and in-car camera project. Just to give you a quick background, right now, we're about 90% of all frontline officers are currently trained on body worn cameras, as well as the majority of patrol and frontline are all trained on in-car cameras. I just want to have a few clips to show you. Won't take long at all, just a little bit of your time. I just wanted to give you an example. So this is our camera footage from in the back seat of one of our cruisers where someone is in custody, just to give you an idea on the type of footage and also the redaction capabilities. As you can see, we use our current Axon redaction software. That's what that looks like. Here's an example of our in-car camera footage during a traffic stop recently by one of our traffic officers. It just gives you an idea of the type of footage that comes up in the middle of the day. Give you an example of the quality of video. As you can see, the officer is full camera and walking up. You can see that the plate on the vehicle being pulled over is blurred. And again, another example of our redaction capabilities.
Sure, where everything we're doing.
Now we're transitioning this to body worn camera footage. So this is the actual officer, same stop, same incident with his body worn camera talking to the person who was pulled over for the traffic violation. As you can see, the redaction capabilities, the person being spoken to, that person's face is blurred for privacy reasons. And that's all part of the package that we purchased. As you can see in the video, it's quite clear. Audio was picked up nicely. I think it's been mentioned before in previous meetings, we've already heard a couple of complaints that have come in against police and they were remedied quite quickly once they realized they were on video, either in the back of the car, in front of the car, or from body cam footage.
Okay, when did you move? Really good. You loving on that?
And this is another example of the in-car footage at night. As you can see, the picture is quite clear. If you look closely at the upcoming intersection, this is the type of stuff that we can pick up at an intersection. You'll see a motor vehicle collision coming up shortly, right there.
Oh. Oh.
So this is just another example of the type of video footage slash evidence that officers are getting while on the road. And this is the type of stuff, whether there's charges being laid, this is the type of video that's being disclosed to the Crown. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, the video is worth considerably more, I would say. That's where we're at.
Thank you. Questions or comments? And that was exciting. Thank you, Bill.
Comment, quick question, comment is fabulous, like you say, picture's worth 1,000 words, a movie's worth more. The other thing is, you mentioned that there's a 90% trained officer. How many of them are actually using them on a daily basis? Would it be that high?
You have 90% of.
90% of them are actually.
The only ones that aren't trained, sir, are, there's a few on the CID side and specialty units that we need to get. And then, of course, because of holidays or people that are sick, we need to catch up on those. But the vast majority of frontline officers are trained, actively using them, yes.
And they have to use it as well. It's not voluntary by any means.
Archie.
For the body cameras, are they on for the full shift or can they turn them off?
Excellent question. So the policy reads that once they get out of their vehicle, anytime they deal with a member of the public or a call for service, they are to activate them. When they're not activated, they're in what's called a buffering mode. So they're on standby essentially. So when they come into the station and they're on their own time, like lunch and all that, they can put them in sleep mode where they're not activated. Because there are certain aspects with the camera, as you well know, that can be activated if someone activates a taser or something like that. So to avoid that happening inside the police station, we put them in sleep mode. But as soon as they leave the station, they put them in what's called buffering mode so that they're always on standby. Every call for service they respond to, they activate it, and then they notify the public or anybody that they're dealing with that they are on camera and that it's operating.
What happens if they don't activate? Like, is there?
So far, we haven't had an issue, but it is a policy. So if someone does not activate it, they will be dealt with by their supervisor.
Other questions, comments? Very good. Seeing none, thank you.
Thanks,
Mr. Chairman. And I think it's exciting that we do have these. I think it's going to create a very good scenario whereby the courts and job of a police officer will become a little bit easier and a little bit more transparent, if I can use that term, in what they see, what they don't see, what they hear, and what they don't hear. So good times ahead with regard to our initiative. Any other comment? No. Sault College bursary.
So I'm going to speak to that, John. I just wanted to let the board know that you sponsor 3 $500 bursaries to Sault College. And this year they have suspended the office administration program. So Sault College has gone ahead and given that extra bursary to a police foundation's recipient for this year until the office administration program is no longer suspended. Just an FYI.
Thank you. Chief Communications and Reports, information only.
Okay,
Special account ledger.
we'll start off with financial report. Sure, it'll be on this page here. So if you go to tab 1280E, oh, yours isn't tab? Yeah, it's just. Or you can just walk up there too. Here, there you go. Thank you. Okay, so a lot of work to say there's nothing changed here. On the board, it's your account ledger. Nothing came in or went in. I think there was a $20 increase on the 29th of January, and that was a share redemption. So there you go. Nothing further on that. And we'll go to our first month of overtime. This is the January overtime, and as you can see, we spent 87,000. Last year, this time, we spent 74. So we're relatively close in that. Those occurrences were generated from what we could find 4 major occurrences. On the 4th of January, we had an assault and stabbing. The male was stabbed in the back and the leg by another male. On the 9th of January, we had a barricaded person, male refusing to leave residence. We eventually responded to police callouts. On the 17th of January, we had a drug warrant executed at a residence on Boston Avenue. 3 were arrested. And on the 22nd of January, we had another warrant for drugs, search warrant on Pym Street. Drugs and drug paraphernalia and cash were seized. 2 individuals charged. So what usually runs these things up is when we have major occurrences like it, it's all hands on deck. The second report that you'll see is your monthly staff shortage overtime costs. And we can see in 25 in January, we were 10,900. The same time last year, we were at 15,000. So there's a good 4 or 5 grand savings there from year to date in terms of staff shortages. Take you to the next one, which is our overtime for court costs. And this is a October 24 to December or January of 25, and we spent 25% of that budget. So according to Angela earlier, we're in good stead for using our court budget in terms of where we are and what the funding is. Statistical reports, I'm going to take you to the best one, which is the annual, which compares the full year of 24 to the full year of 25. I can comment on what is up and what is down. It's a much more robust data set, given that it's an entire year. And you'll see we'll start off with, we had approximately 8% more reportable offenses, which takes labor. Overall, we're 3.2% in total calls for service. Our crimes of violence are all down except IPV. We had 6 homicides last year, only 1 in 24. Our robberies are down 85 to 73, or 14%. Our assaults are down 3%. Our sex assaults are down 7%. And our intimate partner violence is up 8%. That might have something to do with our process that we put in place last March, where we're calling complainants 2 or 3 days after to see if they have anything further to report, if they have a proper safety plan in place, and if they know what resources are available in the community. And that continues to be a very successful scenario, and I'll speak to its individual numbers later. Our crimes of property are all down. Break and enter totals are down 31%. Went from 573 in 23 and 24 to 393. Our businesses are down 27%. Our residences are down 36%. Our attempt B&Es are down 48%. Theft of motor vehicles are down 30%. Our theft is down 17%, and our shoplifting, which we had identified earlier in the year, is down 2.4, relatively consistent. But the biggie here is theft from motor vehicle, which used to be quite a trend, is down 33%, mischief down 27%, frauds are down 30%, our sudden deaths are down 10%. Motor vehicle collisions are up 5%, might have something to do with the weather. Impaired drivings are down 32, or 25 to 17. Bail violations are constant, and mental health act is up 9%. So that's the year basically in review of where the occurrence workload is going. I think there's good numbers there. It's never good enough, but there's good numbers there in terms of crimes of property are going down, and certainly crimes of violence are going down. We move on to IPV stats that I talked about over since March of the year. Last year, 24, we've had 934 follow-up calls. Of those, it generated 42 new calls for service with 9 individuals charged. That's significant. Use of force reports, sort of basic. The first one, we had 5 incidents, 7 reports, 5 pointed firearms. A lot of those were drug warrants that we were going in to protect the members. Conducted energy weapon displayed is 2. At this point, when we look year to date, the variances were up 4 reports from this time last year, from 2 to 6. Go to public complaints. We received 2 new complaints in January 25, and both of them are now closed. The good news is this time last year we had 13. This year we had 5. So we're down 7, which is nice to hear and see. There's 4 things of acknowledgement or notes of appreciation that I put in. You can read them on your spare time, but again, we see people writing into the website. Police were calm and professional, showed concern. The second one, they took the time to listen and were caring. Another one was a business where they found that officers treat people with respect and do their best to keep things from escalating. And the final one was a fantastic job in dealing with individuals and making them feel safe. It's good to hear from the public. That is the stats, Mr. Chair. Open for questions.
Questions or comments?
I just think annually, it's an excellent report with respect to the amount of crime that's on the decrease. Hopefully we can keep that up and continue with that. But would there be any specific reason that the overall crime rates have gone down? Are we doing something that we didn't do before? I understand the reason for the problems with in-partner violence, or that's because probably they're following it up, so we're
Yeah.
getting more response.
Yes.
You know, when we're following it up, whereas before we investigated it, and well, whatever happened after that happened. But now we follow it up and ask, you know, is this working? And in some cases, as was reported last time, they'll say, yeah, we still have a problem here with him or her or whatever it is. And that would lead to an increase in calls in that area. But is there anything specific that you think we're doing, Chief, that?
I think it's, well, police alone do not control crime. It's basically community, which the police are a part of. And as you were asking me the question, I'll go to the macro level and make the argument that I think, you know, the services that the city offer for folks that have long-term mental health, drug addiction, or homeless, and it's not all them doing it, but they do contribute to a significant piece of that. Maybe potentially there's more services that catch people, so there's less people in those situations. I think additional officers on the road doesn't always empirically show less crime, because usually they define more crime and find more, but there is a deterrent effect of more officers on the street. I don't think, Vice Chair, I can come up with one thing conclusively, because when we look at the shoplift thing that we did last year, it's down 2.4, but I'd suggest that's probably within the error rate of variance. But I think it's just rates continue to vary, and I think sometimes it can just be in and of itself. I'd love to say I want to take full responsibility, but I can't. I know it's a lot bigger than just us. It's economy, it's education, it's training, it's health. All those things contribute to a happier community and less crime.
Thank you.
Sound a little bit like a doctoral thesis, but I apologize.
Any other questions or comments? Just a point of information here, the OAPSB Spring Annual Conference, AGM, June 3rd, 5th in London, Ontario. And Chief, we have 2 annual reports, the annual use of Fourth report, the annual strip search report.
So both of those reports, I'm not gonna go through them all, but we're obligated under the new act to produce them for you. And basically, it's an annualized review of where we use force. Each month, you've heard at board meetings when things go up or down. So that's all in there, the type of use of force, the percentages. We compared 24, for example, to 23 and 22. On all these type of force used, 2-year comparisons up and down. And we're generically fairly good at reducing the amount of force we use in this community, as you can see from the monthly reports. The strip search, similar thing. We're obligated under the act to produce it to the board. It's all there in the charts and whatnot in terms of where we've searched, for what we've searched by demographics, etc. And on a high level of that, majority were male that were searched. The majority strip searches were related to a CDSA or a drug offense. The majority were white individuals. And I said, the reason for search was primarily drugs.
Comment, Mr. Mayor?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Chief, the report struck me as odd in the report that you have.
Which one?
I think it's both of them, to be honest, but
Okay.
I'm on the use of force one.
Gotcha.
That you had to identify the perceived subject race. Is that not inviting people to choose a race based on potentially stereotypical indicators that are, you know, that perpetuate, you know, the problems that we've got?
Well, this is all after the fact, and I do believe that any of these areas that they ask us to report on are mandated by the act.
No, I understand.
I don't have a choice but to report on them.
I guess, yes, I understand it's not you willingly doing it, or not you.
Yeah, I get
It's
it.
because you're mandated to do
Yeah.
it, but is it not odd? I mean, it's a bit more of a theoretical question on the legislation. Is it not odd that they would ask you to perceive someone's race?
I'd let you take that up with the ministry. Yeah. Okay. Sorry,
No, that's.
I'm not into giving opinions.
And then on the strip search annual report, it said that there were, let's see here, I wrote it down here. Strip searches for suspected drug made up most of the searches, and the search numbers were 7. In any of those instances were drugs found?
I think, the report here is all about how many times we did it. It's not to, identify the outcome, but I would suggest they were, but, I can only report as to what's in the table.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, number 16, do we have any new business?
Let me just see. So, none from me, so thank you.
Seeing none. Next meeting is March 26, 2025. Adjournment time is 2:29.
Can I just make a comment on that? That's a Wednesday. Don't we
Yeah.
usually meet on Thursdays?
Lisa,
No, we moved to Wednesdays.
Okay, no. I looked
thank
that
you.
up after I got my packet. Oh, it's Wednesday.
I need a mover. Matt, seconder.
What's it is? Date again.
Ian,
March the 20th.
resolved that the meeting is now adjourned. All in favor?
I'll send you an invite tomorrow.
Thank you,
So you have it.
thank you, media. Appreciate it.